Africa is home to immense natural wealth, vibrant cultures, and some of the fastest growing populations on Earth, yet millions still live in extreme poverty. The common narrative often blames centuries of European colonialism, but the real story is far more complex. Let's break down the facts and challenge the common narrative. Corruption and mismanagement of resources. Corruption remains a major drain on Africa's development potential. Public funds intended for schools, hospitals, or infrastructure projects are often siphoned off into private pockets. Large-scale corruption in resource-rich countries means that revenues from oil, diamonds, or gold do not translate into broad-based development. Corruption also discourages entrepreneurship and investment. Businesses must often pay bribes to obtain permits or navigate bureaucracy, increasing costs and discouraging competition. When corruption becomes entrenched, reform efforts face resistance from those benefiting from the status quo, making it difficult to break the cycle. Weak industrial base and limited innovation. Africa's manufacturing sector is underdeveloped compared to other regions at similar income levels. Limited industrialization means fewer jobs in sectors that typically drive economic growth. Instead, most countries rely on low-value agricultural exports or extractive industries. Research and development spending is minimal, and innovation ecosystems are underdeveloped. Without strong intellectual property protections, access to venture capital, and supportive government policies, African innovators face an uphill battle in bringing new products or technologies to market. This limits the continent's ability to climb the global value chain and compete in advanced industries. Debt burdens and economic mismanagement. Many African nations carry heavy public debt, often borrowed at high interest rates. Servicing this debt consumes large portions of national budgets, leaving less money for infrastructure, education, or healthcare. Economic mismanagement, such as unsustainable subsidies, inefficient state-owned enterprises, and poor fiscal planning, exacerbates debt problems. In some cases, loans are used for prestige projects, with little economic return, increasing the debt burden without boosting productivity or revenues. This creates a cycle of borrowing to repay old debts, trapping countries in a long-term financial bind. Social inequality and marginalization. Poverty in Africa is not evenly distributed. Certain ethnic groups, rural communities, or marginalized regions often remain excluded from development benefits. Social inequality can fuel tensions and reduce overall economic growth by leaving large segments of the population underutilized. Gender inequality is particularly significant. Women make up a large share of the agricultural workforce, yet have less access to land, credit, and education. Empowering women economically has been shown to boost productivity and reduce poverty, but progress remains uneven across the continent. Brain drain and loss of talent. Many educated Africans seek better opportunities abroad, leading to a brain drain that deprives countries of much-needed skills. Doctors, engineers, and academics often migrate to wealthier nations where their expertise is rewarded with higher pay and better working conditions. While remittances from the diaspora provide important income for families back home, the long-term loss of skilled professionals hampers national development. Reversing brain drain requires creating domestic environments where skilled workers can thrive, something that depends on political stability, economic opportunities, and improved quality of life. Foreign aid dependence and its limitations. While foreign aid has played a role in humanitarian relief and development projects, over-reliance on it can create dependency. In some cases, aid distorts local markets, undermines local producers, or fosters complacency among governments that rely on external funding instead of building sustainable revenue systems. Moreover, donor priorities do not always align with local needs. Projects funded by foreign governments or NGOs may focus on short-term visibility rather than long-term impact. Aid flows can also be unpredictable, making it hard for governments to plan and sustain essential services. Geography and climate challenges. Africa's geography presents both natural riches and severe limitations. Large portions of the continent, especially the Sahel region, face recurring droughts that cripple agriculture and food security. The Sahara Desert, which covers roughly 1/3 of the continent, is largely uninhabitable and acts as a natural barrier to economic integration between North Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa. Tropical diseases such as malaria and sleeping sickness thrive in many regions due to climate conditions. These diseases not only reduce life expectancy, but also significantly lower productivity, keeping many communities trapped in cycles of poverty. Furthermore, transportation infrastructure is more expensive to build and maintain in certain terrains, such as dense rainforests or mountainous areas, making it harder to link markets and promote trade. Political instability and conflict. Armed conflicts, both civil wars and cross-border disputes, have drained African economies for decades. Countries such as Somalia, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and South Sudan have been locked in prolonged internal conflicts that destroy infrastructure, displace populations, and deter investment. Even relatively stable nations often experience political turbulence during elections or leadership transitions, leading to unrest and uncertainty. Conflict also diverts scarce resources to military spending instead of infrastructure, healthcare, or education. Dependence on raw materials. Many African economies rely heavily on the export of raw materials such as oil, minerals, and agricultural products. While these resources can generate wealth, overdependence creates economic vulnerability. Commodity prices fluctuate on global markets, and sudden drops can devastate national budgets. This economic model also discourages diversification and industrialization. Instead of developing robust manufacturing and service sectors, many African countries remain stuck in low-value added production. Exporting raw materials without processing them locally means losing out on the higher profits associated with finished goods. Poor infrastructure development. Infrastructure gaps across Africa are among the largest in the world. Roads, railways, and ports are often inadequate, raising the cost of trade and limiting market access. Many rural areas remain isolated, making it difficult for farmers to sell their produce or access basic services. Electricity shortages are another critical barrier. Frequent power outages or complete lack of grid access limit industrial activity and deter investment. Without reliable energy, businesses cannot operate efficiently, and digital connectivity remains patchy. The lack of infrastructure creates a vicious cycle. Poor infrastructure hinders economic growth, and low economic output makes it harder to finance new infrastructure. Education deficits and skills gaps. While school enrollment rates have improved in recent decades, the quality of education in many African countries remains poor. Underpaid teachers, outdated curricula, and inadequate facilities contribute to low learning outcomes. In some regions, especially rural areas, children must travel long distances to attend school, leading many to drop out early. The skills gap is particularly damaging for economic growth. Many African economies lack a workforce trained in technical fields such as engineering, medicine, or information technology. Without skilled workers, it is difficult to attract high-value industries. The result is a mismatch between what schools produce and what the job market needs, perpetuating unemployment and underemployment. Public health challenges. Health crises, both chronic and acute, impose heavy economic burdens. Diseases such as malaria, HIV/AIDS, and tuberculosis reduce productivity and strain public healthcare systems. In addition, many countries face periodic outbreaks of Ebola, cholera, or other infectious diseases, which require costly emergency responses. Poor healthcare infrastructure, limited hospitals, shortages of trained medical staff, and inadequate supply chains for medicines makes it difficult to control diseases and improve public health. A population plagued by preventable illnesses cannot fully participate in the workforce, and medical expenses push many households into deeper poverty. Rapid population growth. Africa has one of the highest population growth rates in the world. While a young population can be an asset, rapid growth outpaces job creation, infrastructure expansion, and service delivery. This results in overcrowded schools, strained healthcare systems, and increased unemployment. High fertility rates also mean that households must stretch limited incomes across more dependents, making it harder to save or invest. Governments face mounting pressure to create millions of new jobs annually, a challenge compounded by slow industrialization and low investment in high-value sectors. Land ownership and agricultural practices. Agriculture employs a large share of Africa's workforce, yet productivity is low. Outdated farming techniques, limited access to modern equipment, and poor irrigation systems hinder yields. Many farmers depend on rain-fed agriculture, making them vulnerable to droughts and climate variability. Land ownership issues also stifle development. In some countries, unclear or traditional land tenure systems prevent farmers from securing formal titles to their land. Without legal ownership, they cannot use land as collateral for loans, limiting their ability to invest in improvements. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more in-depth explorations, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video.